So what would be the answer? I mean, if it's not open fish farming, what could we do since the fish population is depleting? And we know that, and right now we know there's a bill that cut the hatchery funding, even though 3/4 of the funding came from the federal government. The state cut it, the administration cut it, which is really sad because to me that's, you know, you want the hatcheries.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
There's a couple of things. I'm going to let Kale talk about one of them.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that we're proposing. And again, if you go to every island has got fish ponds on it. And fish ponds that haven't been used in decades, if not a couple centuries and so forth. But those fish ponds around these islands were there for a specific reason. And so it's real easy. You know, if these guys are saying, well, it's just like traditional fish ponds, right, then let's take that money and put it into these fish ponds so that we can start to restore the fish ponds.
Yes.
When we restore the fish ponds, we get the community involved in the restoration so that families, communities can get together and, you know, introduce themselves as neighbors finally.
Community. Wow.
Oh, new concept. Well, I mean, this is real.
Yeah, that's out of the box.
Yeah. You know, and then make it a community effort when they go into Malama, these fish ponds, with the support of the monies that they're putting into these open ocean fish farms. Okay. The other thing that's really important is that when you look at Hawaii and all the islands, we're not even a speck in the entire spectrum of the world. But yet, these open ocean fish farm companies are coming in and saying, we have to feed the rest of the world. Who's we? You know, it's not us. I mean, the Hawaiians and the people that live over here, we don't have that feeling that we have to feed the rest of the world at the expense and the impact of all of the bad environmental impacts that's going to come down, as well as the infringement on the cultural rights. So why do we have to feed the rest of the world? And again, that's where we come in with that question. What is their ho'okupu to the people of Hawaii?
Yeah. You know, it's kind of interesting because when you bring up the fish ponds and restoring them, I think it was Pearl Harbor at one point had like 50 fish ponds. It was a breadbasket, and now it's a super fund, which I always thought was kind of a strange name because it's not super and it's no longer funded.
Well, for a different reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a real big mess. It's a big pollution mess. But it seems in this economy where, you know, we haven't hit bottom yet, and Hawaii imports more than 90% of our food. We have about a 5-day food supply if we're lucky. If the boat doesn't come in, you know, it's the supermarkets' shelves are bare. It seems like restoring fish ponds would be such an amazing way to build community, to get people together, to have people working together on a project that would feed their own communities. To me, that would reduce crime, right? Because you'd have people who know each other, you'd have relationships building, you know, and the one thing I love about the ahupua'a concept, which is from the mountain to the sea, you know, land divisions on which our tax maps are based. One ahupua'a might have been great fishermen. The other ahupua'a might have grown great kalo, and there was bartering, trading, right?
Well, the other thing about the fish ponds is that it's not just what happens down at the ocean side. Okay?
Yes.
Because the fish ponds were an ecosystem within itself. And so as you move up Mauka, there are all these micro ecosystems that help to feed into the fish pond. And so when you restore the fish ponds, you also got to restore all these microsystems that go up the mountain.
Right.
Okay, and so when you restore that, then what happens is that you have a whole area from Mauka to Makai that's all sustainable.
Yeah.
Because it has to be pono. If the water up Mauka, it comes down and it's pilau, it's not good, it's going to kill the fish in the fish ponds.
Yep.
So you have to make sure that the water that comes up from Mauka, the fresh water, along with the stream bed, along with all, if you have low E and so forth, that funnels down. This all provides the system and feeding system for the ponds, but it all has to be pono, and it all has to be operating in and of itself, but in concert together.
Yeah.
Because when you guys come to Hawaii Island, we can show you all of the microsystems and the effect that it has on each other from Mauka all the way down to Makai, and it is amazing. It is amazing what happens.
Because sometimes the low-E wetland taro, the stream would go through the taro patch, come out, go into the next taro patch, and by the time it reached the fish pond, it was so nutrient rich. And you know, grew really healthy and wonderful fish.
And so what happens is that if you block off that system because you put up one big huge house, you put up a big subdivision, and you block that off, that killed that feeding system that came down to the ocean.